click the links for Odyssey and BitChute. So what's up with Hollywood diddling kids? Not to be too blunt, but clearly Epstein and Weinstein are not the rare exception that we were told. When Mr. Alex turning the cyberfrogs Gay Jones talks about the lizard people and the Clintons stealing souls from kids and spiritual vampires, why do they need to censor him? If he is such a clown, why not let him speak and let everyone see what a clown he is? The truth doesn't fear investigation. You set the truth free, it is a lion, it can defend itself. Yes, they are sexualizing kids. It's actually happening. They've been doing it for real for, I don't know, about a decade. And I was a libertarian for a long time, but game theory rears its ugly head. Libertarianism loses to Bolshevism. Only hardcore tribal nationalism can fight the Marxists. All these things are kind of weird topics for YouTube, which is mostly pop culture, very, very light pop culture stuff, because they are also on one side of the narrative, the globalist side, which all the mainstream social media companies are on. So if you're not careful in your criticism, then they will just kick you off, which over time moves the platform further left, because when you kick off the far end of a spectrum, it's all relative. There's always going to be a new far end. So the right end just keeps getting clipped. So the middle moves to the left. An 80s moderate Democrat would be called a 1940s Hugo Boss wearing person today by the modern left. Most of the moderates on either side of the aisle pre-2001 about would actually be more akin to nationalists who, not to be edgy, but who would be in favor of socialism, but I can't say that phrase. And I don't mean that definition of it, but I mean, like, Democrats in the 80s were still fierce nationalists. They knew that opening the borders destroys a country. And a little something to keep in the back of your mind. A year from now, speaking out against open borders will get you kicked off YouTube. And hopefully by that time, Odyssey and BitChute will have caught on with the normies, because this self-censorship on YouTube is insane. I hear other channels doing it too, and it's like, it sucks. It's like you're just, I don't know, driving with a limiter on the accelerator or something. Even doing this video on YouTube is a bit tricky, because there are some things that must not be mentioned or the channel is instantly banned. Okay, so all this stuff in Hollywood, this Epstein, Weinstein stuff and the brainwashing. Next time you have the TV or even YouTube on, keep a pad of paper and note the commercials. What groups do you see? What combos? Who is absent? Who is portrayed in a positive and a negative manner? And once you see it, it will just blow your tits off. When it comes down to it, the only way to change a situation is to spread the message, help other sleeping normies awaken and start noticing. Use social media and in person. Become a noticer. Yes, they're after the kids. There's a video going around on social media. It's an obese teacher with cupcakes for the gay students. And the straight kids don't get them. And the SJW land whale is waddling around in an outrage. But it got me thinking, why is a child's sexuality being discussed at all? The reason we just let these issues sort of fly past is because we're frogs in slowly heating hot water. Imagine people waking up out of the Matrix and actually seeing the world that the globalists have created post-1950s. We are more Weimar than Weimar. It's like civilization is a field of rakes that humans have to keep running through. Which kind of reminds me of that scene in that movie, the Douglas Adams movie. Until we leave this godforsaken planet and terraform Mars. If you saw the Nickelodeon Pride abomination, how do I say this? These sort of spiritual rapes don't happen in a nation. They happen in a commercial zone country controlled by billionaire bankers and NGOs. A nation would ban this sort of kitty diddling and round everyone up and deport them. Oh no, it's not legal. Legal is whatever the writers of history say it is. Legal is just a piece of paper. The founding fathers didn't envision that we would tolerate men dressed as Luciferian clowns in schools or little boys dressed like girls dancing for predators. Yes, let me be clear here. If you watch a boy or girl, child, under the age of consent, dance around on a stripper stage, then you are a predator who, after legal due process, needs to go. Afghanistan and Pakistan has little boys who dance for the men. You can search YouTube. They have dozens of videos that will make you wish you could take the next rocket ship the fuck off this planet. And I'm surprised, I guess YouTube can't take those dancing boy videos down of Pakistan and Afghanistan because to do it, if they take it down, then that means they're covering it up, and that'll make the media will talk about, or the alt media will talk about it. The media won't talk about it. The media will cover it up. The alt social media will talk about it. So if YouTube takes those videos down, it's a line in the sand. So they're still up there, but it's like, there's still videos on YouTube that are putting YouTube in this weird position. They would like to take them down, but to take them down now will get more publicity. So they're up there. Go watch them. They're a trip. And here's a tricky bit with globalism and social media. Ooh, be careful here, buddy. If all cultures mix, if one group says that children may not be treated in a certain manner and another group says no, well, what group wins? The group that advocates most zealously for it, as Europe is learning right now. But it also begs the question, if they do these things to kids that the other main group doesn't agree with, then why are they commingling? Do we want a society that is so tolerant that we must not say anything or we'll get fired, we'll get doxxed by CNN? They'll come to your house and publicize that information and have the banks kick our accounts out like Bank of America and Chase Bank did. That should terrify people, but, well, it doesn't make the news. It doesn't make the mainstream news. Americans are learning that we, the people, don't run America. The media and the banks do. The ADL, SPLC, ACLU have all the money in the world, and the leaders of those groups are out and out degenerates. Actually, truly evil people. They are so evil, so Luciferian, that they will make you start to wonder about the Bible if there truly is anthropomorphic good and evil. The head of the SPLC had to step down after he was caught. His name is Richard Cohen. These money groups have a massive overrepresentation of perverts, like these Epstein-type degenerates, which is bad because they use that money to hire lawyers to push First Amendment issues that deal with zoning, obscenity laws. They get these cases to get prawn in schools and in towns that don't want them, and to compel the school boards to teach certain things. Soros, Rothschilds, they're able to literally buy district attorneys and judges. You think I'm kidding? Or that's just something said off the cuff, like in an Alex Jonesy types of way? Nope. Go search it on DuckDuckGo or Quant. When you have Soros Rothschild's level of money buying your legal system, then you don't have a legal system. You are slaves to a group of people who are working tirelessly to destroy you. Oh, well, I guess we'll just vote them out. You know that your ballot is going in a shredder, right? Well, we'll just vote harder next time. Some normies just want to stay asleep. Oh, so how'd you get kicked off YouTube and swatted? I guess I called for a revolution or like whatever after legal due process. Don't swat me, Fed boy. The slippery slope of sexualizing kids starts with the Marxist professors pushing Frankfurt School, cultural Marxism, basic anti-white Bolshevism that they've been doing for 100 years. A controlled op programmed robot meat puppet like Miley Cyrus will say that she is pansexual years ago. Stunning and brave. Other celebrities as well will immediately jump on board for the free publicity, and it works, at least when it's rare. The little kids see this, and of course, they are easily influenced, and they also jump on board for social media dopamine positive reinforcement. Of course, in a sane nation, kids would have zero exposure to pop culture until they were 25, as far as I'm concerned. They would learn Latin and Greek and read the best European writers. But what I just said would terrify your average globalist parasite. They want every year to be year zero. A rootless people are a destroyed people who are easily controlled. Guess who controls the school boards? Filthy globalists. Take a look at the head of the teachers union. She didn't want to go back to school for some reason, which is fine. Homeschool your kids. It's set up neighborhood schools. Get 30 kids together, find somebody who's got the biggest living room and teach them there. So now the schools start brainwashing the kids into cultural Marxism, and they push kids to declare their race and sexual preference, which is none of the school's business, and it shouldn't be discussed in schools, but this is current year. Doesn't anyone stop and say, hey, we should look at these school boards. We should look at their names and who they are. What are their internal biases? What are their affiliations? Who picks the books, the authors, the teachers? Who are these people? What should we know about these people who are sexualizing kids? Why are these globalists who run the schools, why do they have their kids in private schools? But the way Bolshevism works is first they build shields using a manipulative technique. Gee, I just butchered the pronunciation. That's an easy word. Of creating a power control term that they then use the schools and the media to spread this control term. Then they start committing atrocities. And when you resist the propaganda, they use the control term as a shield. Oh, you're Istophobic for opposing my degeneracy, which is fine because you can also play their game by saying, well, as a marginalized and oppressed, disenfranchised person of color myself, I don't have the power to be Istophobic. You are oppressing me with your gaslighting. Listen and believe. It's not my job to educate you. Educate yourself. Be better. You get the idea. I had so much fun on Twitter before I got yeeted 6 times, and I'm all out of burner phones, so if you could send me one, thank you. Myself, I am a disabled, trans, lesbian, Jewish, two-spirit woman of color, really. So I am putting myself at the top of the oppression ladder. If I believe it, then it's true. So yes, Nickelodeon, Netflix, and Hollywood are run by Epstein, Weinstein types. But another question is, maybe we should form men's organizations, be it Christian or Euro-pagan ethno-tribalism, to work out, to discuss calling out this evil and find a way to destroy it. And I specify men's group for a reason, but I will do that in a much, much more based BitChute and Odyssey video. Anyway, it gives me $3 on coffee, and I will see you guys all next episode.